A new shop, a new dawn, a new beginning, a full workshop, and a happy smile. Stuart Thompson, WCT Engineering, new home. Congratulations. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks, Colin. It's I guess it's always going to be a bit of a disruption moving a workshop, but we're happy, and back at work, which is really nice.
And not just back at work, you've got a full shop. I think I counted 13 race cars up here, and there's some more downstairs waiting for their turn for attention.
Yeah, Colin, we're very lucky. We've got a full house, and I'm certainly pleased to say that all of our customers, all of our drivers are absolutely pleasurable to work with, and I think maybe through a mixture of luck and good planning, we've ended up with a really, really good bunch of guys.
There's an amazing workshop, just a level of passion. You guys are true racers, and I think this home kind of reflects just like next level from the old shop.
I think we'd certainly outgrown the old shop, and it had become a bit chaotic, and certainly we were all working in a way that we don't really like to. So we couldn't really operate in a neat, tidy and effective way, and it was time to move.
It's late in the afternoon, early evening. Before a series of, there's a test, there's a race, there's another race, there's a rally, there's a cross-country thing, there's all sorts of things. But your business is not just about running cars on a race. You start at the beginning and end at the champagne.
Well, assuming the beginning's done properly, then hopefully the champagne will result.
And the beginning being the initial design, clean sheet paper design of cars.
Yeah, I guess in an ideal world we would design, build and run the cars from A to Z, but it's not an ideal world, so we do quite a lot of the design, which Achim does, the design engineering of the car, through to building the cars from scratch and running them.
And developing them while you're running them as well.
Yeah, indeed. It's perhaps one of our biggest frustrations that we quite often haven't been able to develop the cars that we design and build. Quite often they get built and put in a container and never seen again. We are quite lucky this year to have an FIA class Hilux that Gary Berthold has bought and is campaigning, and that gives us a really, really privileged opportunity to develop the car, which we haven't really had up till now, as I said.
And you've got a massive task with all the GTC cars that you're running now as well.
Yeah, the GTC Championship, I think, it's certainly rejuvenated. Largely, I think it has to be said through the efforts of Ian Schofield from Investchem Motorsport, who showed faith in the formula. He also happens to be our team principal for the GTC racing, and he's a passionate guy. He believes South Africa needs a premier circuit racing formula. He believes GTC fits that bill, and unlike some, he puts his money where his mouth is, and he's made it happen.
I think that's also the continuation. We know that Formato started it off. They also put money, effort, time in it, and it got so close to being there, and I think Ian has just come in and just given it that little tweak and a fill-up to take it to where it should be.
Absolutely. I think no one involved in South African circuit racing in general, and GTC in particular, can discount the effort that Mick and Gary put in. They had the faith, the wherewithal to launch
and the foresight,
and the foresight, indeed. And I actually think it is already a very good formula, and it's potentially a great formula for South Africa. I mean, you look at these two new generation Corollas. We've got a Focus there. There will be more new cars for next year, and there's very strong rumours that the Golfs will be back. So I think that, with a little bit of a push, it could really be a formula the like of which South Africa hasn't seen for a very long time.
And for the doubters and they always are, I mean, motorsport's full of, kings and not kings? Naysayers. These things are not easy to drive. They're not easy to engineer. And skill and application in both of those get rewarded.
Indeed. They are proper racing cars. They are complex cars, both chassis and engine-wise. So not only does it breed well-rounded drivers, it breeds engineers and mechanics too, which I think is very important. And I mean, if you look at these three, Robert is currently leading the championship. He's a seasoned single-seater driver. And his two teammates in Scott Temple and Julian van der Walt also have
Single-seaters.
come through the single-seater ranks. And I think that's something that Ian wanted to make a point on, is that you actually can do a whole lot worse than single-seaters to get your grounding. And you certainly look worldwide, you know.
Because Ian does a massive amount of support for the Formula 1600 series now as well.
Yeah, he does. He, you know, the Formula 1600s are his baby. Until very recently, he was driving in them himself and even winning races. But he's taken a step back from that now. But I guess it certainly provides a very effective staircase for the talent to come through karting, Formula 1600, and then into GTC. And I think there's potential for a few more young drivers to graduate next year.
Just need a couple of. I think that belief will come. But you've got kids on this side over here, and they truly are kids. And then you've got father of a kid who's doing really well in the Porker, Hein Latergan's Porker. The story of that thing, you running it in endurance racing?
Yeah, we're going racing this weekend in Port Elizabeth in the SAES series, which I think is also a good series. I haven't been exposed to it under its new ownership, so I'm looking forward to that. But very excited to be doing it with Hein. It's, you know, from a kid, I followed his career in single seaters where he was exceptionally good. Through rallying and off road, where we always competed against each other, and it's really nice to be working together at last.
Two more parts of the business that you run. One is the fabrication of parts, either that you've designed or that need specialist fabrication skills, the artistry in welding that you guys have got. You build a lot of parts and ship a lot of them overseas?
Yeah, we do. And as you've touched on, both parts that are of our design, you know, for example, we make quite a lot of parts for South Racing for their Dakar Can-Ams. And also from...
That's an Achim design.
Indeed. So that is an Achim design that South Racing build under license. It wasn't practical to build the chassis here, so they build the chassis to Achim's design and specification, and we provide a lot of the parts. So that's quite a nice relationship, and it works well. And as you touched on as well, I mean, these GTC chassis are built here to the GTC design. So
another two on the jig,
yeah.
And I see there's pipes for Africa. No wonder there's a blooming chrome only tube shortage in South Africa. You've got it all here.
It's a bit of a problem. But as you touched on, there's one nearly finished, one on the jig table, and another three in the wings. So it's really good, and I guess it goes without saying that's 2 + 3 = 5, and that's 5 new cars for next year, which is very exciting.
It brings up to, what's it, 10, the number of chromoly chassis, 11?
Yeah, I mean, it will be 11. So it's quite exciting. It's and it probably will see the end of the first generation chassis too, which you know, they've done their job, they served the formula well, but I think these new cars are just a step forward, which is worthwhile.
Absolutely. Now the last part is your absolute passion for things that are old, the history of motorsport. I mean, the amount of stories that you can tell is absolutely magnificent. One day we're going to sit down and have a beer or 7 and talk about old stuff. But your restoration of old beauties, you've got a Jordan Formula 1, and it's a 73 Titan?
68. One of the
Jesus, that's old.
The first full year of Formula Ford, so quite a special car.
It's almost older than you are.
A little bit.
But just what is it that gives you or drives you, that thing that you're doing, it is mint, it is perfect, it is immaculate.
Well, Colin, you know, I don't think, in all honesty, it's any different to any of the other cars in here. So it's done to a high standard, but then, you know, so is everything else we do, I'd like to think. And whether it's an FIA Bucky, a little side-by-side, or a touring car, we try and do them all to the same standard. And
make sure the holes are all drilled in the right place.
It's a problem when you have cheap labour in times of stress.
I tell you, it's absolutely disgusting. Stuart, this is one of my favourite places to come, workshops to come to, and there's just if you ever feeling low in life and doubting oneself, this is a place to come just for a quick revive. Thank you for allowing us in and sharing, and good luck. May the year be fast, furious, and happy.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.